My dear Lebanon, my dear Beirut, faced with this chaos, I recall a line from the Lebanese poet Khalil Gibran: "One can only reach dawn by taking the path of night." There are divisions, echoes of conflicts at your borders, corruption, the powerlessness of your leaders, the monetary crisis which has plunged your families into misery, and then the surge of coronavirus epidemic. I cannot but think of these two explosions as a symbol of a system which is shattering. Tomorrow, you will rise up as you have always done before.
Mika, hello.
Hi.
That was from an emotional letter that you wrote to the people of Lebanon at the start of the month following the explosions on the 4th of August, expressing your grief at the ongoing political conflicts in the country. Tell us how what happened affected you.
I saw those images on the 4th of August and it provoked a very strong reaction in me. I think not just because they're shocking to watch, but also because it brought back so many memories from my childhood, this kind of background conversation of war, of loss, of frustration, of anger. I was born in 1983 in Beirut, and our family actually left about a year and a half afterwards, and we came to Paris, where there was a kind of expat transplanted Beirut, Lebanon community here in Paris. And so even though I grew up until the age of 8 here, before going to London, there was very much this idea that Lebanon was what was at home. So there was, Paris, and then there was home in our apartment, and there was Lebanon in there. This kind of suspended mythology of a kind of cultural identity. And that's, why it provoked so much emotion in me when I saw those images.
We're chatting today, Mika, because you've organised a virtual concert with the likes of Kylie Minogue, Salma Hayek, and Rufus Wainwright on the 19th of September to raise money for the people affected by the explosions in August in Beirut. Tell us why you wanted to do that.
I wanted to respond. I wanted to respond to the situation over there in any way that I could. I'm a singer, I'm a musician, and that's what my job is. And to do that for something like this is important. I also felt that it was an opportunity to bring people together who might not necessarily understand the cause, really, but they might have heard of it, but they might not understand all its different nuances and details. And so I wanted to take people on a journey and use music and use a performance. And it's not melancholy, the performance. The performance has its healthy share of irreverence, and I think that's really important for me to do what I do. But also taking people on a journey, using music to also try and provoke empathy and understand the emotional and human side of this crisis that has only been exacerbated by these explosions of the 4th of August. We're talking about a major crisis, a place in serious crisis, and it's been getting worse and worse for the past 6-7 months.
And is it going to be your music? Tell me what you mean by this journey.
So the journey, it's my music. It's also music of other artists like Rufus Wainwright, like the Italian Laura Pausini, like it's poems, it's testimonies. I couldn't forget that I had to address it in a poetic way, find a way to put it into the narrative of the show. And it's never really been done before, because I've started to find myself, establishing live links with someone in Mexico, and then I wanted the Italian part of the performance to really stand out. During quarantine, we've ended up in this situation where all our favorite artists, and I'm a musician, but I'm also a fan, just like everyone, and all our favorite artists were singing at home. It was fun at first. And then I wanted to see them on stage. I wanted to see, I wanted to see them doing what they do.
It sounds utterly amazing. The proceeds of the concert are going to go to the Red Cross Lebanon and Save the Children in Lebanon,
yes,
who are working with people there to help them. You said you've sent people there to film for you. You've also got friends there. What do you know about what it's like on the ground there?
It's not good, and it's hard to visualize until you actually see it with your own eyes. I mean, I haven't seen it with my own eyes. I've seen it through footage. but it's tough. And people are expressing a lot of anger. There's a lot of anger in the rushes that came back. But there was also hope, and we also included that.
And in your Instagram post, you quoted the Lebanese poet Khalil Gibran, "One can only reach dawn by taking the path of night." After all the years of civil war, the financial crisis, the political upheaval, which is ongoing even now, how do you see the future of Lebanon?
I see a future where change is a must. You know, after the brutal, I mean, really brutal 15-year civil war, it was incredible to see how the city and how the Lebanese people and how Lebanon got back on its feet. And it's gonna happen again.
And what do you think about the French President Macron's involvement in all of this, asking for change, calling for change? He's become a bit of a celebrity in Lebanon, hasn't he?
I think he has personal links also with Lebanon. I think that he has his reasons for doing what he's doing. It's nice to put a concert together with musicians who are expressing purely human stories and using music also to bind those together, because just for an hour and 40 minutes we can talk about Lebanon and we can talk about what's happening to the people, but we can also not only focus on the political side of the situation.
Before COVID, you'd been on a world tour with your latest album. When did you last perform in front of a crowd?
The last time I performed in front of a crowd was just before lockdown in Melbourne, and I was singing in Melbourne. I was doing the New Zealand and Australian part of my tour, and I was supposed to go to China. China cancelled. Then South Korea. There was a whole bunch, like an arena tour in South Korea and Asia stuff, and that got cancelled. And then I saw it all happening. Lollapalooza, South America, Coachella, 3 months in the States, all the festivals. But actually, before it all really shut down, I was filming a show about music and the concept of beauty. It sounds crazy, but I was in this island called Tanna in the South Pacific in the country of Vanuatu, and I was with the Yakel tribe. And I get back to the car after having filmed with them all day and making music and having this amazing experience. And that's when I got the message that everything was really shutting down. We were starting to have everything cancelled. And I look at my partner, Andy, who's also the person who helped me put together this show that we're doing. I said to him, I think we need to go home. Like, we need to go deal with this. And I'll just remember always, and I look out the window and there's all the men of the tribe waving us goodbye, and it was just such a surreal moment.
Over your career, you've sold more than 10 million records. Your last album came out at the end of last year. My name is Michael Holbrook. This summer, you released Le Coeur Holiday with the French rapper Soprano. How is the health crisis affecting your music?
Oh, it's affecting our touring, which isn't that like basically most of an artist's music industry nowadays? I mean, as it constantly morphs and changes, and you know, all those artists from the 80s and 90s who actually sold records, like we look at them and we're like, how did that feel? But it's just changing and it's evolving. It's so much. So this is why also that the whole live thing shutting down has had such a huge impact on our industry and all the independent people that work in it. It's also provoked creativity. The show, I Love Beirut, is part of that. I believe It also forces you to go and to say, okay, let me go and sing with someone else and then see where it'll take me, and let me open myself up as well and do more and be maybe just a little bit less isolated than before, which is ironic because quarantine has led to artists de-isolating themselves in an artistic way.
Your I Love Beirut virtual concert will take place on Saturday, the 19th of September. Tell people how they can watch it.
You can watch the show I Love Beirut on YouTube at 8 p.m. in the UK, 9 p.m. in the rest of Europe, and there are also multiple time zones. All the information is on my Instagram and on my Facebook, Mika Instagram, and tickets are €10 or £10 or $10 based on where you are in the world, and they're available at Ticketmaster. All the benefits and all the profits from this concert and all funds raised, including those from the sponsors, will go to the Red Cross Lebanon and Save the Children Lebanon.
Now, Mika, we're living in difficult times. Your music has always been so upbeat, so joyful. Any chance you could sing us out?
No.
Have you got a message for people watching?
If you want to sing, and if you want to hear me sing, we'll see you at 8 or 9 p.m. depending on where you are on Saturday night.
Thank you.
I'm Gulliver Cragg, France 24's correspondent in Kiev. I'm forever crisscrossing Ukraine, Poland and other countries in the region to keep you up to date with all the news from Central and Eastern Europe. Join me on Live from Paris and in all France 24's news and magazine programmes.
Gulliver Cragg, one of the 200 France 24 correspondents around the world.